Welcome to the 523 podcast. My name is Devin Corbello, owner of Corbello's Menswear, which this podcast is a part of. And the purpose of this podcast is for menswear, community involvement, and entrepreneurship. And today I have my co-host, Andrea Andrews.
Hey.
And a good friend of mine, Cody Porche, owner of Porche Imagery.
How's it going?
Welcome.
Thanks.
I'm really excited. You're a long-time listener, I say.
I am.
A long time meaning,
OG.
the whole month
The
that
whole
we've
month.
been.
Yeah, it's exciting.
yeah.
I like what you're doing with everything.
Thank you. So tell us, Cody, the reason I asked you here is because you just recently started your own business a couple of years ago?
5 years ago.
Has it been
Yeah,
5
can
years?
you believe
wow.
it?
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about it, if you don't mind. Tell us, the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, so the business is Porche Aerial Imagery, and essentially we fly drones for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess started out, I used to work for a helicopter company here, south of Lake Charles, and I did that for 5 years. Tried to climb the corporate ladder.
Right.
It wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And so I just decided I need to do something for myself, and that's the idea came about. I knew how much it cost to get a helicopter in the air,
Right.
And you do the math, and thousands of dollars per hour, and
Wow.
yeah, it gets, and that's just to rent it. That's not even the photographer, and
Wow.
so nonetheless, drones were becoming popular at that
Right,
stage, and so bought one and never looked back.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So how long has it been since you've been on your own? Have you been doing it full time for 5 years, or
No,
were you-
so that's what I guess the assumption is, right? Okay, when you start a business, you're doing that full time.
Right.
Definitely not. So
Right.
I didn't even turn a profit for at least 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I mean, I would say officially full time 3 years.
Right.
But other than that, when I started it, I was working for family. I was just doing anything I could to
Right,
get
right.
money.
Yeah.
So it was tough in the beginning.
Is it? I think
Definitely
they
a
call
leap.
it is it bootstrapping? I think is what they call it. There was a
Yeah.
book I read where people starting their business in different ways. People do it to fund in the first few years because you don't really make money
Yeah,
at
almost like
this point. And then,
moonlighting.
Yeah.
Like we're exactly.
right,
you have
moonlighting, bootstrapping,
Yeah.
the whole nine.
Yeah, like you have what you call your job,
Right.
but then when you leave that job, you go to work trying to
Exactly.
start this business. It was sort of like that.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're trying to find yourself. So you're asking, okay, is this really going to be a thing? And then at one point, if you're successful, typically what happens is you come to a decision point, and that means, okay, I have to do this full time, or I have to hire somebody.
Right.
And so then at that point, you just do what you need to do. And I decided to go full time with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, it's been blowing up. I see it all over Facebook, and
Yeah.
it's really neat. And was it last year or 2 years ago you did that really cool video for Evangeline, or it was titled Evangeline?
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, Andrea, but it was he flew over Southwest Louisiana basically, and it was set to a piece from Evangeline, which is this symphony piece, right?
Correct. Yeah. So to try to sum it up, because it was a 2-year project, and it was through Empire of the Seed here.
Right.
Mr. Rick Richard contacted me and said, "Hey, I got this idea. We want you to film, make a video, and then we're going to play it live. Essentially over the orchestra or the symphony."
Right.
And I was like, "Oh my God, it was a really big job." And so that's what we did. We just did all these different locations. So rice farming, oyster fishing.
Wow.
Piney Woods, everything about Southwest Louisiana. We tried to get as much as we can and film for 2 years. And then one day, worked with companies to make it happen live. And it was the most stressful thing I've ever done.
So it took you 2 years, the project?
Yeah, so the filming took 2 years, and eventually we worked with the symphony and a few others to make it happen during the night of the performance, which was a really cool thing.
It was really neat to see. It's you kind of see those videos of like the orchestra like playing to like a movie screen, and this is what it was. It was really neat to.
I need to see it.
It's I'll have to show it to you. It's on Facebook, but it's to see it live, and it was just it was great, and like the imagery and like the clarity of each shot, like it was really beautiful.
Well, thank you. I mean, we had to use the best tools we had at the time. So by the time the project was finished, we had better equipment, and we couldn't use it. Does that make sense? Because when you start with one camera, you kind of got to just finish it.
Right, so it's consistent.
It is 15 minutes long. I'm going to warn you. You know, but it's just something to put on in the background and listen. You don't have to look at every shot, is what I tell people. But it's,
I love music like that too.
It was pretty neat. Looking back, it's one of my favorite projects.
Yeah, I think that was like my first like exposure to like what you did and what you could do, especially with drones, and because that's such a new technology right now, and a lot of people kind of don't understand it. And you're one of the only ones in town that does this, or is there more? Or?
Yeah, I get that question asked quite a bit. You know, I would say officially, like only, or you should say specializing, right? I believe I'm one of the few, but there are a couple companies that have added drones in their like Rolodex. You know, like they do. You know, we have, photography, let's just throw in drones on top of it. But I believe we're the only ones that do only drone photography, if you will. Yeah. So and I think that's helped success a little bit. Right. Like specializing.
For sure.
Initially, people thought I was wrong by doing that. I was told, well, you're missing out on all these other opportunities. And my thought was, well, no. If you get really good, if you get really good at one thing, then you'll be the one that they call. Right.
Stands out.
We're going in that direction. So, yeah.
And another one of my favorites, I think you did like it was a demolition of a plant here or something, and it was really cool because like he was flying around it, and it's just I love like demolition videos anyway, and it just
really I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always loved like. I love disaster movies. I think I do. It's kind of
that was a like
sadistic, I guess. But
phone call out of nowhere, company out of Dallas. They're like, "Hey, we're blowing up a building."
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh my!" This is one of those real stressful things because if you miss it, you miss it. There is no redoing. Kind of like the start of a race or a fun, a charity event. Those are actually a little stressful versus, hey, we want some shots of like the bayou, right? Because you can do that over and over. Yeah. So anyways, it was a pretty stressful day, but once you get the shot and you look at it and you make like 10 copies of it out of paranoia, it turned out really
because you can't
really
like
great.
set the building back up.
Right.
No, that was actually a joke. They came up to me about 5 minutes, and they were like, "Hey, this is it. Like, we need you."
Oh God!
And I gave them the thumbs up. And there are times with technology where drones won't take off because of maybe is an airspace issue or a battery issue, and so I was pretty worried.
Has it ever happened to you?
Not for a live event, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But of course, it has definitely happened. Like I've been out on site, and for whatever reason, just not cooperating that day. So you put up, go fix the problem, and come back out. But not the live events. We don't do a lot of them. So.
Now you say we. Is it? Do you have more people?
I'm glad you're addressing this. So.
Because I say we, but it's usually just me.
Okay, I'm the exact same way. Whenever you start a business, you have to choose. Are you going to be I? Or are you going to be we in the beginning? I chose we. It sounds better.
It does sound better.
Yeah, and I don't know. For me, it comes off a little.
Egotistical?
Like pretentious. Like I'm the one flying, right?
Yeah.
But I hope that my company can grow one day, and so that's why I say if you start with we, you kind of have that vision.
Yeah.
And so I do get that. Like
it.
they're like, who else is with you? And I'm like, well, technically nobody.
Right. And like seeing that's one of the reasons why I've used I more because for that question, and I'm like, well, it's just, but I do tend to use we and us like. At the contact us page and on my website.
It works both ways. Yeah. I mean, neither one of them is incorrect, in a way. But it's like,
you have a support team. That's like,
I
could be a part of your me.
You can think of it like that. Or like I have people, have friends that have helped film projects or so. Yeah, I mean, there is a team.
Right.
It's just technically, if you look at the company structure, it's just me.
Right.
So.
Okay, good. I'm glad that. I was on the same wavelength as you, thinking that too, because I read a book, and I'm sure you that's where you got this from. It's just you just kind of have to make a decision, but I really like the whole like kind of putting it out there, the vision casting, if you will, of like it will be we, it will be
you got
a team.
If you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And whether or not, you can run a successful company and not have employees. There's no rule book that says you have to hire people.
Right.
That's actually when it becomes really stressful. So, hey, like I said, I had the vision of growing one day and hiring more pilots but until then it's a we operation still.
Right. I like it. How many drones do you have? Do you have multiple drones or cameras, or how does it work?
Oh God. I obviously started out with one, but now the ones that I call are just actively flown are up to 5.
Yeah.
Now there's probably 8 that have been, I guess, procured. Some of them are a lot more expensive than others. So and they all do different things. One's for very good at photos, one's very good at video, one's good at inspections, one's weatherproof. It's just a whole plethora of things that they do or can do.
Right.
So yeah, there's quite a bit of them now.
Cool. That's awesome. So as I guess a little shifting gears now, as a business owner and someone's started a business, do you have any advice for someone who may be wanting to start a business, or what's your advice for them?
The best advice I can give anybody is, thinking, is there a need? And if there's a need, fill it. That's kind of what, like, I just saved somebody a $30,000 master's degree right there, because that's what you learn.
Right.
It's essentially, and if there's not a need, how are you going to be different? What are you going to do that's different than the person next door? Because if it's all the same, you're just entering into something that you're going to make a little bit of profit.
Right.
So distinguishing yourself is a big thing. But yeah, I would just ask yourself, is there a need right off the bat? And like I said, it's not always a yes or no. Obviously, you can't just say yes or no into every.
Right.
Or else no one would ever start a business, right?
Right.
Oh, well, there's already a car wash place here. There's already, but maybe say, okay, if there is one, what am I going to do differently? So, it's one piece of advice. I have probably way too much advice to give someone starting a business.
Well, and it's I keep on referring back to I read, and like it's all in this book that I've mentioned before, but it's called The $100 Startup. I don't know if you read it before.
I have not.
I'll let you borrow it because it's great.
Okay.
But you may not even need it now since it's kind of after the fact. But
always learning.
Right, but that's basically like the question that you have to ask yourself.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was in there, so it was really. Like, it's really good that you said that, you save $30,000 on a master's degree.
Well, if you want to go get your master's,
$25 book,
that's kind of the joke,
right.
That's what you learn. And obviously you learn a lot more, but if there's a need, fill it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's in your area too, so that's a huge part.
Yeah.
We may not have something that another city does. Well, bring it here. You're going to be at least more successful in the beginning phase if there's no competition.
Right.
So that's something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even when competition does come in, like with Waiter, we now have, I think, 2 more delivery services I saw this week. Is it Grubhub and then DoorDash?
Grubhub and DoorDash, yes.
I live under a rock. I know that.
Well, and then
it's brand new though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say brand new for here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's always going to be competition, but if you set yourself apart and just make something that's different, and then I think customer service is big too for a small business, and especially at the beginning whenever you have the time and you can like be one-on-one with your customers, and that's what I've found in my line of work. I really enjoyed that aspect too, just getting to know my customers and like hearing their stories, and which Cody is a good friend of mine, and he was I tell people this all the time because I just think it's so great. He was like, I think, customer number 3. And,
I wanted to be number 1.
Right.
Who was number 1?
Who
do I need to talk to?
Dana
Of course she was.
which is my best friend's mom,
Okay.
Dana Wrigley.
She's like the most supportive person in the whole world.
She really is, and so I know she listens to this, so shout out to her.
Yeah.
Hi, Dana.
Right. So yeah, you'll have to talk to her about that, whatever.
I want to know what she bought.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. It's not a competition, right?
Right. Just I was like, you just have to buy more than her, but we won't do that.
Yeah. So wait, now what is the repeat statistic? Who was your first repeat client?
You were my first repeat.
Was I?
That's crazy.
Or was I the second?
I think you're the second.
But third for sure. I'm the third.
You're the third, like,
Client.
of my, the third client ever. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See?
So shout
I
out
know
to my best customers.
when we did the or when you did the letter.
Oh,
Oh, that was
Okay,
that
let's
was
not
a
lie.
Hold
I
on.
wrote the cards because my handwriting is better.
okay. So that
but-
was a we situation right there.
Yeah.
in the
I got
company.
that, by the way, and that was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, nice touch.
Yeah, a lot of people really liked it.
I wanted to do something for my first, like, I think it was like my month anniversary, and so I wanted to do a thank you letter, personalized thank you letter to my customers, but Andrea saw my handwriting and she
I
was
was
like,
like, wait.
yeah,
Really?
We are not doing this.
So I wrote the words, but she was my ghostwriter on the handwriting
I
part.
wrote myself one, remember?
That's so funny.
Right.
Let me ask you this. Do you guys do the same thing I do when you get something that's handwritten? Do you, like, look at it at an angle to see if it's actually handwritten?
No.
You ever done that? Because, like, they have fonts now
I
that,
just
like...
trust people.
Oh, there's companies that, like...
Really?
You can get them printed, and you can tell the difference. Anyways, it's...
No.
I looked at it and I was like, oh, my God, this is real.
Y'all sent me a thank you letter, so I'm going to have to look at that.
Oh, we did.
For the baby shower.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that
have to
was
look-
me.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell my handwriting's garbage as well.
Mine's terrible, but
But that was a nice touch.
well, thank you.
Good
It was I appreciate it. It was just something I wanted to do. I wish I could have done more. It was just I
My
don't know.
hands started cramping, so we had to quit.
Well, it's good. That means you're selling, product. That's-
Yeah, and it's been great. It's how many months has it been? September, October, November, December, January, February. 6 months.
So you're
Wow.
still like an infant in the business.
Yeah, very much
I
so.
mean, you-
It's been a crazy ride, and I've met a lot of people in the last 6 months and made a lot of connections, and that's really one of the great things I'm sure you've seen. Just you kind of open up yourself more whenever you own your own business. That people look at you different, like they kind of talk to you different. I found, not like in a dramatic way where they're like, but I feel like they're very interested in what you have to say and like the process. And then you meet a lot of other small business owners too that I've made really great connections with, and which we were friends with before, but it was just having made other friends too, and it's really great that we have a community here that we have that spirit of entrepreneurship that with all the growth, and I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a big change.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, I call it a leap. It's
For sure.
that.
Yeah.
And the initial days are not easy.
No.
even if it is like a profitable business, or even there's so much growing pains you have to go through, just with yourself. Changing the way like you normally operate, but if you enjoy it, that makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
It's one thing to make money. There are plenty of people who know how to do that but hate what they do, and ask them what's their quality of life.
Right.
Versus somebody who just makes a little bit, absolutely loves it. They're just overall happier.
Yeah.
So it's important to like what it is that you do.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, just on your family life, like how was that with Emily? Like, was she like supportive, or like was she like hesitant at first?
No, she wasn't. No, I'm kidding. No. She was
It's like,
100%
we can cut this
supportive.
out.
Yeah, let's edit this part out. No, that's a, look.
It's a
At the end
given.
of the day, when you're married or you have dual income, it's easier for you to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to quit my job and start my own business," right? Versus somebody who is completely on their own.
Right.
That's a lot more difficult. So I had it easier in that way. But yeah, it still took some sacrifice because you had all these guarantees from both ends, and then one end, you lose all that, guaranteed money each
Right.
month. And I say all that. I didn't make a lot at my old
But
job.
still, it's something.
But it's something
Yeah.
that it goes to nothing. I mean,
Right.
the paycheck stops. So
Yeah.
then you're like,
It was something to depend on.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, but as you slowly start to see progress, it helps, and so it kind of energizes you day to day.
Yeah.
And the good news is, I always tell people, they always say like, oh, you shouldn't have an exit strategy. I'm not gonna call it that, but you can always go back to work. You can always get another job somewhere else.
Right.
It's there's nothing permanent about starting a business.
Yeah.
So that's also neat to think about. It helps you take risk. So I don't
I'd
know.
much rather try and fail than to not try at all.
Yeah, that's a
You never know what will
huge.
come
It's
up.
one of my favorite quotes.
Yeah,
too.
that's
Oh
awesome.
no, I came up with that on my own. That's so much-
I think was
Yeah,
it
trademark it?
who was it? Oh, what's that Arthur's name? I can't think of it. I can't think of his name right now, but it was a quote from him that I'll have to look this up
Is it
later.
Dr. Seuss?
It was an older Arthur though. Was it Charles Dickens? No.
I know where you're going. I mean,
There's something. I'm just gonna move
I
past
don't
that
know.
no,
now.
I think that was the first time I heard that. And
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It was by Andria.
By Adrian.
Yeah, we'll just go with it. But so she was supportive, which Emily's always great, and she's a really good friend of mine too. So I couldn't see that her not being supportive.
Yeah, that would have been difficult.
Yeah.
I can imagine some people are in that boat where maybe they already have a high paying job that they hate. See, that would even be worse because how do you leave that?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just got to ask yourself, what do you want? And if you want to take a risk, take a risk.
Yeah.
You're always going to find another thing to do if it doesn't work out.
Right.
Or it could work out, and then you're much happier.
Right.
So,
And then you kind of read all these success stories, and a lot of them came from failure. And I read this book. It's called Tribe of Mentors, and one of the questions that this guy asked, like all of these successful people in their fields, is what's one failure that has changed your life? And they all go to the failure that like happened right before they were successful. And that's just, I try to read a passage from that book every day to have that encouragement. And because I think you can learn a lot from other people's mistakes. I mean, you make your own too, but
yeah, I haven't thought of it like that, but I mean, essentially that's what happened to me. I got my master's, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna climb my way to the top at this company.
What was your master's in?
I got my MBA. I got my undergrad here in McNeese, and then while I worked at this aviation company, I won't say any names. They actually paid for my master's.
Wow.
So
awesome.
it was difficult. It took about 2.5 years. But once I graduated, I thought, this is it. Life is going to get so easy at this point, right? They're just going to like make me, a manager like the next day. It didn't work out like that.
Really?
And so I would call that would be my failure. It was I could not move positions no matter what I did. I tried everything, and there was just nothing for me. It was like they were telling me, you got to get out or you're staying right where you are for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
And that scared me. And so I got out.
Yeah,
And
I don't think I ever heard that story. It's really cool.
Yep, that's a true story. Yep. I was there for 5 years. I told my wife I would have probably died there.
Yeah.
I liked working at that company a lot. I did a lot for them. And then, but for whatever reason, it's not their fault.
Right.
There's just no room to grow.
Right. There was just nothing there for me. And so it was just a sign. It was like, you got to move on. 5 years is enough. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. Looking back, it was the absolute best decision. And I know a lot of people say that, but man, I really mean it.
It takes a while
It
to
was, oh yeah,
realize
like I
that,
said,
yeah.
the first 2 years,
Yeah.
you're losing money maybe. So that's not easy.
Yeah.
But then you start getting some bigger clients, and the word of mouth gets out there, and you have like a brand and identity. That's hard too in the beginning.
Yeah.
Trying to establish who you are.
Right.
But once that all kind of works itself out in a way, then you look back, you're like, thank God I did that.
That's awesome. So new, we're gonna shift gears again. This new thing I wanted to try is, so I came up with like 3 questions today, and I'm gonna get you to pick a number, Cody, and I'll get you to pick a number, Andrea, and we'll talk about those questions that are associated with that number. So,
Okay.
but y'all don't know the question, so this is going to be kind of fun.
Okay.
All right, so
All right, go.
Cody, we'll let you pick first.
Oh God.
So 1, 2, or 3.
This is stressful. Door 1, 2, or 3. Let's go with door number 1.
Okay. What's your favorite fashion trend?
Of course, I picked about fashion. To everyone listening, I don't really know a lot about fashion.
I'm helping them out along
Trend.
the way.
Okay, so help me out here trend-wise.
So-
like you're saying,
So like something like
Don't laugh at me. Can I give her the question?
No, that's not fun.
No, okay, I got this. I got this.
So like just something over your lifetime that you've worn or you've had that you really like, or
What's your favorite outfit?
well, it's like a trend. So like
Maybe a certain haircut?
I would say like maybe a haircut or like some shoes. Like I know like the Shocks were really big back
my
in the
God.
early 2000s.
I had a pair of Shocks.
Me too.
I think
Yeah.
everybody did.
They were
And those
so
were
ugly, but I loved them.
Yeah, looking back, that was
So
pretty
ugly.
bad.
right.
I don't know if this would be called a trend, but I see kids nowadays are doing the opposite of what we did in terms of like hat bills. Flat bills are like the thing now, right?
Yeah.
And then you have socks. Like when I was in high school, if you showed a pair of socks, you were like,
That was the
oh,
end.
so
it was the end of you.
Right.
There was no show or no go, right?
I remember I didn't
It was,
like if like some like no shows were like not like clean or something. I only had like long socks.
You roll
I
them.
would like slip them
Yeah.
in and like make it look like I have ankle socks on.
But like nowadays, you see, it's like the thing.
Yeah.
It's cool to look
Yeah,
nerdy in
I
a
just
way.
can't do that.
What's the deal with that?
I don't know, and I'm really glad
really-
that we
yeah.
moved there because I do love socks and I love crazy socks. But like a lot of these guys, like they'll wear like the tennis shoes and like the socks that go up to their calves and like the shorts and like it's usually like a plain black Nike sock. But I don't know. I love socks, so it's I never thought
you
of it
like
like as
that, or
the
you're
opposite.
saying-
I don't know if
It's
you
just
would.
something you noticed.
It's something I've noticed.
Okay.
Like I said, I mean, back in the day, it was totally different. I say that like I'm 100 years old, but I kind of feel like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's mine.
I guess what era was that?
I was like what, early
60?
2000s.
No.
When were you in high school?
I
No, like-
graduated in 2006.
Yeah. I mean,
the
it
era
was.
of the socks, like, because that's not a new thing. That it's coming back. So, like, what era?
Oh yeah, before
Do you know
us.
what I mean?
So maybe we're the anomaly.
60s or something.
Mm,
You know,
Yeah.
like when they used to wear like play basketball and it
Sure.
was like short shorts and
but they
wear
had
the socks.
the socks. That's kind of where that trend came from. I guess it was more from the athletic side of
Yeah, exactly.
things.
So maybe we were the ones that were, on
yeah,
it,
we kind
right?
of probably.
It was like we don't want to be
changed
like
it
our
Maybe.
parents, and we don't want to.
Yeah, because they did it in the 80s because they would wear it over their leggings.
Yeah, and then my dad always wore like ankle socks, and obviously they weren't trendy,
Yeah.
because like growing up, it's just you look like an old like a parent or a grown up or like an old person if you had like long socks. So I think that's where we were like
Maybe.
we don't
Yeah.
want any socks showing,
But now it's back.
right?
Okay. That's mine. I don't know.
I like it.
like that, but
It's good. It's close enough.
good answer. Good answer.
So Andrea, 2 or 3?
3.
Okay. This is a good one. And you can answer too, Cody, but what purchase of $100 or less has been the most impactful on your life? It's like a deep question versus the fashion trend
The
question.
most impactful?
Mm-hmm.
$100 or less.
That's tricky.
That's very tricky.
I know.
I'm gonna go with I was about to say my coffee machine, coffee maker, but no. Well, I mean,
I mean, you use
the
it
most
every
impactful-
day.
Let me think. I don't know. There's a few things that I just use every day, or that's like.
Oh, you
just-
feel like just has a really big impact on your life?
I absolutely adore my books,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess
My
I don't know
my
if I wanna
answer
just
would be a
pick
book.
one. Yeah, like my books for sure. I really like my essential oil diffuser. It changes my mood. Like it really does.
But I don't think you bought that. I think someone gave that to you.
It doesn't matter, Dad.
It was
Which
under
actually,
100.
Dana
Dana?
Wrigley,
Dana
again,
gave it to
she
me.
gave it to
Yeah.
us. What about you,
Um,
Cody? Do you have one?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's my Quip toothbrush, and no, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm
Really?
absolutely addicted to this.
Why? What
It's
is
the
it?
best thing ever. They like send you a new head every 3 months.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
you get into a subscription.
Right.
And it's not free. Nothing's free.
Right.
No.
But like something about it, like it's easy to travel with. It's easy to use.
Those
like,
are those. The one that looks. It's very like sleek and
Yes.
futuristic looking.
Yeah, like I thought it was just a complete waste of money when they first like were targeting me on Facebook. Then one day I was at Target here, and I'm like, oh, there they are. And I think they had like one for $25 for plastic and then $40 for metal. I was like feeling lucky that day, so I bought me a metal one, and like so this Christmas I bought every single person in my family one.
Wow.
That's how awesome I think they
Nice.
are. And no, I'm not going to give you my referral code over this. Again, I'm not sponsored. But yeah, definitely. I mean, it just changed like everything for me. Yep.
That's interesting.
I
'Cause
know.
What are the benefits? I want to know. anything
Yeah.
Like this.
I don't know. I think before, they say, oh, you got to brush your teeth. Like, I guess, okay, I was lazy with it, right? But now it's
You're like, I never used to brush my teeth. And
yeah, there's this thing called a toothbrush, but it's awesome. No, you know what I mean? Like, there's days or weeks go by that you're just like, man, I haven't really been, or you see a dentist appointment come up on the calendar, you're like, oh God,
Yeah.
But
Oh,
now
man.
I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Right.
It's the little things in life. And
I was actually
Right.
thinking while you were talking, like, dang, his teeth are really white.
Are
I've been
they
like,
really?
I've been very like self-conscious of it. I'm like, I need my teeth to be really, really white. So I
Yeah.
might like. Look
So
into
what
that.
is it? Is it just because it? I don't like. Does it like? I don't really know how this
Yeah.
works. I'm gonna have to look into it.
it's not it's not like a smart toothbrush. It doesn't connect to
Does
your
it
phone.
brush your teeth for you?
No, it doesn't do anything like that. It's just I guess you'd say a vibrating toothbrush.
Yeah.
It just
And
makes the
it's-
process fun.
I just like how the feel of it, the look of it. Again, traveling with it, it's seriously convenient. The battery lasts for one battery lasts for 3 months, and they send you a battery and a head.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
awesome.
It's just probably one of the best products I've ever
Yeah.
bought.
Well, and then you don't have to like go out and like remember to like replace your toothbrush
Speaking
every
of-
few months.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Think about when's the last time that if you have an
I don't
electric
even want to
toothbrush.
think about it.
One of
Right.
his friends, I'm not sure their name, their daughter just won a some kind of what's it called when you go
Like a treatment?
No,
Oh.
when you like it's like a science fair type thing. She won, I think, like first place.
Oh,
do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, Chris and Shonda.
Yeah, yeah, their
She
daughters.
won second place.
Second place.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
She told me what it was for, and I was like,
Oh
I was
yes.
like, oh dang! And I remember I went home and changed my toothbrush.
Because her science did they tell you about this, Cody?
Or they may have.
Which-
Sorry, Chris.
Shout
Sorry,
out to Shonda and Chris because they do listen to.
Yeah. Hey, Shonda.
Um,
Hey, Chris.
But it was like what's dirtier, germ wise,
I do
your
remember,
toothbrush
yeah.
or your toilet,
Yeah.
and it was your toothbrush.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I
Even
said,
like what you put it in. Like I'm weird about that. Like I went through this like phase where I wanted to like minimalize everything, and I like took the toothbrush and the toothpaste out of the holder that it's in because it like gets bacteria and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just like dry off the toothbrush and stick it in my medicine cabinet because like I don't know. I feel like
Well, and then
all that
they
stuff
say
gets so
agree.
nasty.
the whole air in the bathroom, which the plant that I have in my bathroom,
I have one too.
the
In
snake
shower?
plant, no,
Oh, just in okay.
that's a eucalyptus.
I have a eucalyptus plant in my shower.
It's- yeah.
so do you want to change both your answers to eucalyptus plants?
No,
instead of
because
books?
it's not a eucalyptus. It's the snake plant or the mother-in-law's tongue, and it's the plant that's it's pointy and it looks like a snake's
Oh, okay.
tongue.
Yeah.
They call it mother-in-law's tongue because if you don't like your
Interesting.
mother-in-law, but anyway, it's a plant that cleanses the air, and they say it's very good for like to keep in your bathroom because it like kind of filters out all the bacteria and like all like the other nasty stuff that's just like in the air in the bathroom. So
That's interesting.
Yeah, and actually I got that one as a gift, so that's not my purchase.
But you really like that one.
My plant?
Do you name your plants?
No.
Yeah,
I
me
should.
either.
Yeah, right. What's your plant's name?
Well, the only ones that I remember naming for sure, me and Devin, was it me and you? We got those really colorful plants
Oh,
like
yeah,
a few
that
years
died.
ago. 3 or 4 years ago, we got these like super like I don't even know where we got
Well, they were
them from.
yours because we weren't living together at this time.
No, yeah, but I named all of those, and I can't remember. I remember one of them was like Fifi, one was like Zoe, and
There's
then
nothing
one
wrong
was
with
like
that.
something random.
I name my cars. That's George
Yeah,
out there.
mine's Edna.
Really?
Edna, yeah. I've had
Mine's
that for a long time.
Biggs because the license plate
Biggs.
says BG.
Oh, that's
Z.
awesome.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I'm not cool by naming my car.
It's odd that you have it a guy name because like a lot of people name their cars female names.
Yeah.
Really?
So
No,
what's
really?
why
I don't
George?
know. I think it was just like a joke. I think Emily's is, or my wife's is Cece.
Cece.
And then, so when I bought that, I was like, well, she's got to have a boyfriend.
Yeah,
And so
obviously.
here comes George. And I don't know why I picked George.
I like it.
It's ridiculous.
Well, isn't that one of the babies, William and Kate's baby, George?
Is it?
One of them.
Oh, God.
So it's
I may be
royalty.
the only person in this whole world that just doesn't care about them that much.
I don't
like
even
I
know
don't follow them.
I don't know who are we talking about?
Middleton. Kate
um,
Middleton.
The prince, Prince William, and
Okay, yeah.
And Kate.
I mean, I know who they are, but I don't know anything about
I
them.
just
I have friends who freak out over them, and I'm just like, wait, what? Who are we talking about?
I'm sure most people don't. I
So
don't know.
disrespectful. Like they're royalty, and I'm just like, what?
I don't know.
But are they, though? I mean,
I mean,
I'm kidding.
I
I just really, I just made someone like
Yeah,
fire
I
off. Somebody just slammed the
end
laptop.
podcast now.
I don't think anyone that listens may not be that into it. So I don't know, but Dana again, she was obsessed, not obsessed, but she really
Oh,
loved
yeah.
Princess Di, and
Okay.
just kind of the same obsession with what people have now with them. Like she was just really was just inspired by her. So I know she may actually have something
Maybe
to say
so,
about
yeah.
this.
Well, that's cool. I mean, if it
Yeah,
has a
but-
deeper meaning, I just joke like
No,
when you
I-
see things in tabloids and stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm moving on.
Right.
Unless it's Kanye West, I want to know everything about him.
What?
So does Kanye West.
Oh,
I'm just, he's so weird and like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something about like
Yeah.
every move that he makes. I'm like, it's just ridiculous.
Right,
You know,
and I
so-
think that maybe what some of these people like obsessed over, like celebrities and stuff, just because like I don't know, like they just may have that same obsession with like another celebrity.
Well, I want to
knows?
make the record clear. I'm not obsessed with Kanye West.
Cody's obsessed.
No, I just anyone like that, like that's kind of like not on this planet,
Yeah.
but really successful.
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued by.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you hear about like even Steve Jobs or like Warren Buffett or somebody like that, they're not always normal in the head. So
Which,
it's
speaking of Warren
pretty cool.
Buffett, I watched this documentary on HBO. I think it's called Becoming Warren, but it follows him and like his life, and it's a really neat documentary, and I think you'll like it. But he's the second or third richest man in America, and
just depends on what day of the
literally
week.
has McDonald's for breakfast every morning. And his wife puts in 3 different amounts, he says, and it's like 2 something, like 260, 270, and like 310. And he picks which one he wants, and that determines what breakfast he gets that morning. And it just depends on how wealthy or how lucky he feels like. So like if the market's down, like he'll get the cheaper breakfast that morning.
Wow.
But if it's like if he did well the day before, he'll do the
So he doesn't ever cook his breakfast?
No, he does. I did hear he eats at McDonald's every day.
literally, like in like this documentary follows him, and he's like in a Cadillac driving up, and like the McDonald's people know him
You
because
see what I mean? That's not normal.
right, exactly.
Now, yeah, it's very unique
Mhm.
and it's simple, but it's not normal.
Right.
So that's what I mean by like
I guess
these.
like
for
that,
sure.
that's cool that he's like humble to eat McDonald's, but I'm concerned about his health if he's eating that every single morning.
It's true. Yeah, it can't be like
That's not healthy.
super healthy. But
Yeah,
Oh, it's
mean,
not.
I've actually driven by his house before.
Really?
in Omaha.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's not what you think, you know.
Really?
Now,
Yeah.
granted, he probably has like 30 homes,
Probably so.
but
I mean, it's
just
it's
a lot of like
humble.
security
Yeah.
cameras like pointed everywhere, and it's just very tucked away into a
Yeah.
nice neighborhood.
What's the first thing you would buy if you were like that wealthy?
You're talking about billionaire?
Yeah.
Like, so if you like became a billionaire tomorrow, like what would you buy?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Like, what's the
Okay.
first thing you would change about your life, I guess?
You go first, Devin.
Oh jeez.
I want to hear your answer.
I don't know. I think
I don't
I'd
know,
probably
dude.
go on like a vacation.
That's what you
or
would first.
well, no. So like my siblings and I like all have this like pact or like ambition whenever we do get wealthy and stuff, that we're gonna build like this huge house, mansion, whatever, and have like 3 different wings.
Yeah.
One
that'd
for
be
each of
cool.
us, but like we all live in the same house and like have a common area and like have all of our like close like,
Like a little
family like come
community.
like
That's
live
cool.
with us just
Yeah.
because we're like really close and we just want to for some reason want to live together again.
Yeah. Especially if you get along. I mean,
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
and like but we have like 3 wings for whenever we don't feel like hanging out with them, we go in
Yeah.
our separate wing.
you're just gonna be like shy in your wing over.
Right, like yeah, we have like I'm like I don't
So
really
what
feel
if
like
you?
talking with.
But wait, so hold on. What if you throw a party in like your West Wing? You're not gonna invite somebody.
We've talked about this,
This is- I mean-
and they threatened that if I never invited them, they would show up anyway and embarrass me or in some kind of way. So it's just better to invite them
I feel
and
like
have them
Andrew
not
said
come
that.
over. It was both of them,
Really?
Carly and Andrew. They just like to embarrass me. But we did talk about that. That was a specific
Cool.
question.
I mean, that's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
No.
I mean, it's unique to say the first thing I would do as a billionaire is want to live with my family.
I know.
Because most people would go the other way. They'd
Right.
run, you know.
Yeah. And then I won't, like, if I buy my house, they won't have to ask me for anything for a while, I would think, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you would, like, okay, like, he bought me a house, like, I don't
Yeah.
have to bother him.
You
for
gotta get it in writing.
Right.
Gotta have a lawyer that
Yeah.
controls the money. Oh, yeah. I've thought
For
about this
sure.
too much.
All right, so what's your answer?
If I just became a billionaire tomorrow, I would just buy a bunch of land in Texas. And,
Really?
Yep. And I would disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now, I'd check in with friends and whatnot. You know, I'm not
Right.
saying that. It would be a slow process. Because I think what would probably happen is you'd be, like, inundated with, like, all these requests and pretty much people begging. So I think of it, like, really hardcore like that.
Right.
Like, what would I actually do? Yeah,
Mhm.
I would just disappear with my
Yep.
family. And hopefully take friends with me. But
Yeah.
no, it'd be buying land in Texas.
I'd come. I don't know if I'm invited,
Yeah.
but I
Like, I'm talking tens of thousands of acres.
Yeah.
Like, just be alone, middle of nowhere.
Hey, that's what Tilda Swinton does, that actress.
Really?
She lives, like, very secluded in Scotland.
That's awesome.
And, like,
I mean,
Totally do that.
and it's not to say, it doesn't mean I hate people or anything. I mean,
Right,
I don't want anyone to look into it like that. The idea of being, having your own land, like vast amounts of land to hunt on or to, develop whatever you want. I mean, that's really neat.
for sure.
Especially if you're like still a billionaire, the possibilities are kind of endless. 'Cause
Right,
You still have
yeah.
money to do with it whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Well, yeah,
And
and
you
then
don't
I
have to
would
do
like,
anything.
start like, a few businesses and invest to make sure that I don't run out
So
of
they'd be
money.
kinda like
It's like
your
my second purchase.
second,
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. What's your first?
First thing I would do would be I would pay off all my student loans, and then I would just set my whole family up. Just set them all up, like financially, make sure they're good to go, and then I would buy a house, like a nice house wherever I want to like be established, and then I would travel everywhere. I would just travel.
That's
it.
awesome.
And that way I can come back and like have a home, and it's like furnished and good to go. It's my little home, but my heart just wants to like see the world, and I would have money to do that, and then I'd come back and know that my family's good, I'm good, but that's what I would do.
So you'd buy a house, but then not live in it for.
Right. I mean,
That's a couple
honestly, like
years.
it's just like it's a safety thing. Like, okay,
Yeah, you have it
yeah,
to
I
go back
have it to go back to, but I have this money to just see the world, and like not everyone can do that, you know. And then I wouldn't feel bad for it because like my family's taken care of, you know.
Right.
Like they're good to go. They can, because they're good to go, they can enjoy the money that they have now, you know, that they're making. They don't have any stresses.
I need to give some to Devin.
And I'd give some to you.
I want to change my answer. I think
Okay.
I'd just buy a van and live in it.
That's one expensive
You
van.
No,
Like
I
just-
mean a lot of people do that, and that's I think.
I
it's
don't know if
really cool.
Andrea knows I actually have like a gigantic work van.
Work van?
Yeah, and I had dreams of converting it into a, like, they call it just like basically like a camper. Like, it has shower, bathroom, everything.
Yeah.
But it's, it's a couple $100,000 to do that.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's like, but that would be cool. And then you could travel.
Oh, and then you can sleep outside of daycares all you want.
Yeah, that did happen.
Not to make them sound like a creeper.
No. Yeah, that was
Very creepy.
okay. So if someone shuts off the podcast now, they're calling the police.
Right.
Or hiding their kids.
No, so I'm actually I'm about to be a daddy, right?
First time
And,
dad.
Yeah, I know.
Congratulations.
Hold the clapping.
Yeah, that's
And,
sorry.
No. And so one of the popular daycares here apparently has a line that starts the day before. And so everybody slept in cars, and I roll up in my van and slept on a queen air mattress.
That is crazy.
And I had it made.
Yeah.
So that just happened.
That was
crazy.
It was whenever Emily told me that story, your wife. It's just we were just cracking up the entire time. Well, one last question I always ask all of my guests is, what's a book you're currently reading, or maybe a book that you would recommend to someone, and why?
So I'm gonna sort of I can't really say the title of it. It has a vulgar word in it.
Oh, I
but
think I know what you're
it's
talking about.
like, I think it's something like How Not to Give.
Yep.
Oh,
You
that's
know
the
what?
second guest I've had.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a huge one.
Is it The Art of Not?
Yes, thank
The
you.
Art
That's
of
what it
Not
is.
Giving
Yeah,
Yep.
and I will let you finish.
Frog Leg?
Thank you, Frog Leg. No, it's actually a good book. It really helps you be yourself, or at least come out of, because that's one of the big things when you start a business is you're kind of, at least for me, I was shy to it all. You're like, oh, look at this, it almost comes off like you're like pompous or something, like, oh, look, I started my own business. And, I don't know, at least maybe that was me in the beginning, overthinking things. And then when you read books like that, you're like, nobody really cares.
Yeah.
I know it sounds sad, but you really are, you have to make it.
Right.
And then eventually, if you have success,
Right.
then okay. But I guess it's caring less about what other people think.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Yeah. And then also, like, with like competition, and like sometimes people get so wrapped up in focusing on the competition, that you can't be successful for yourself. And I've read that a few times. You just have to kind of block it out and do your own thing, and kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
worry about your own business and getting that successful, and then
Yeah, or else you would never go
Right.
anywhere if you always worried about what other people are doing. Now, granted, it's not a bad idea to strategize.
Right,
If
for
you see
sure.
someone doing something a certain way and you think I can do it better, okay, that's
For
different.
sure.
But if you sit there like, oh, I heard this person did that, or I hear it all the time, this person bought a drone. If I got worried about that every single time I heard that, I would never be I wouldn't be where I am right now. So
Right.
just, if you like it, move on with it.
yeah.
I agree.
Perfect. I'm gonna have to really check that book out now, since you're the second person to recommend it on the podcast, and I've heard it before too in person. So, well, again, Cody, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And I wish you luck. And real quick, tell us how people can get in contact with you if they want to hire you, or you have a website.
So if you're listening and you have a project that you need some videos, pictures, whatever, anything from the air, really, you can go to www.porcheai.com. It's our website. Or we got a pretty good following on Facebook. So facebook.com/PorcheAI. And follow us on there, and you can see beautiful pictures and videos of Southwest Louisiana, and maybe some buildings exploding too.
Yes. And
For Devon.
Well, yeah, for sure. We'll have that linked in the description too. So
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you, Cody. And,
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon.